Just 3 weeks ago, American F-16 fighters intercepted Venezuelan aircraft near Trinidad and Tobago's airspace. Last week, Venezuela responded by activating their S-300 anti-air systems during Bolivarian Shield 2025 exercises, while U.S. destroyers patrolled just 200 nautical miles off La Guaira. U.S. Southern Command just announced the deployment of B-52 bombers to Colombian bases, and Venezuela has put their Sukhoi squadrons on maximum alert. Military tensions have reached a boiling point. Both nations are flexing their arsenals as mutual warnings in an escalation that's keeping the entire Caribbean on edge. But what would actually happen if these war machines really clashed? What's the true difference between America's most lethal military hardware? Today, we're breaking down every military component to discover who would dominate in a showdown that could redraw the geopolitical map of the hemisphere. In the skies, two combat philosophies collide like titans. The United States deploys over 13,000 military aircraft, the most devastating fleet on the planet. Their hangars house stealthy F-35 Lightning II fighters that cost $120 million each, equipped with AESA radars that detect targets at 300 kilometers while remaining invisible to enemy radar. These airborne demons carry AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles that eliminate targets beyond visual range. Venezuela fields barely 30 operational fighters total. Their elite consists of 21 Sukhoi Su-30 Mk-2 aircraft, Russian twin-engine beasts capable of exceeding Mach 2. These multi-role fighters track 10 targets simultaneously and attack 2 at the same time using long-range missiles. They're backed up by some veteran F-16 Block 15 aircraft that, despite being 4 decades old, remain respectable platforms. The gap widens dramatically with attack helicopters. The United States operates over 5,800 military helicopters, including more than 1,000 attack units, like the legendary AH-64 Apache. These flying tank killers mount 30mm cannons and carry up to 16 Hellfire missiles that punch through any known armor. Venezuela responds with just 10 Mi-35 M2 Caribe helicopters. These Russian beasts combine devastating firepower with transport capability. They carry 8 fully equipped commandos while packing 23mm cannons, 80mm rockets, and Ataka V missiles that penetrate 800mm of armor. The real abyss reveals itself in surveillance. The United States controls dozens of E-3 Sentry early warning aircraft that detect threats at 400 kilometers, coordinating battles like omnipresent battle brains. Their MQ-9 Reaper drones stay airborne for 14 hours, eliminating targets with millimeter precision from undetectable altitudes. Venezuela lacks early warning aircraft entirely. Their Chinese JY-11 ground radars detect aircraft at 200 kilometers, but over 60% are inoperative due to lack of spare parts. Their drone program is limited to 15 locally manufactured Harpy units, small aircraft based on Iranian designs. American air supremacy includes unique capabilities, KC-135 tanker aircraft that refuel fighters in flight, enabling operations thousands of kilometers away. B-52 bombers carry 88 500-pound bombs each, capable of leveling entire cities. The United States dominates the skies with alien technology. But wait until you see what's hidden beneath Caribbean waters. The waters reveal the most dramatic difference in naval history. The United States operates 11 nuclear aircraft carriers, each one a fortress, displacing 100,000 tons and carrying 90 aircraft. The USS Gerald R. Ford represents the naval pinnacle. Unlimited nuclear reactor, electromagnetic catapults that launch fighters every 30 seconds, radars that track 1,000 targets simultaneously. Each carrier transports more firepower than Venezuela's entire navy combined. Their F/A-18 Super Hornet fighter bombers attack targets at 1,500 kilometers, while MH-60 Romeo helicopters detect submarines 50 kilometers underwater using advanced sonar. Venezuela has no aircraft carriers. Their main fleet, 4 Spanish Avante, 2,400 patrol boats of 2,300 tons, armed with 76mm cannons and Iranian CM-90 missiles. These patrol boats, though modern, are microscopic compared to American giants. Venezuela's naval tragedy. Their 6 Italian Lupo frigates, for decades the backbone of their navy, have been retired due to obsolescence, leaving a devastating operational void. Beneath the waves, the United States maintains 70 nuclear submarines patrolling every ocean. Virginia-class subs remain submerged for 3 months, armed with guided torpedoes and Tomahawk missiles that reach 1,500 kilometers. Their Ohio-class submarines carry intercontinental missiles that destroy cities from the depths. Venezuela possessed 2 German U-209 submarines, but neither is operational. Decades without maintenance have left them as underwater scrap metal, leaving their territorial waters completely unprotected. The United States deploys 9 Wasp-class amphibious assault ships that each transport 1,200 Marines, attack helicopters, and F-35B vertical takeoff fighters. They can establish fortified beachheads on any world coast within hours. Venezuela lacks amphibious capability. Their naval forces are limited to coastal operations without power projection beyond territorial waters. Anti-submarine warfare reveals critical vulnerabilities. The United States deploys P-8 Poseidon aircraft that detect submarines using sonobuoys from 10,000 meters altitude. Their Arleigh Burke destroyers mount sonar that sweeps enormous ocean areas. Venezuela has no modern anti-submarine capabilities. Their patrol boats carry basic sonar insufficient to detect stealthy submarines. Enemy subs would operate with impunity in Venezuelan waters. The United States projects power from 11 nuclear floating fortresses. But on land, the numbers become even more brutal. Land battlefields reveal mythical differences. The United States deploys 4,640 M1A2 Abrams tanks, 68-ton beasts that have dominated every conflict. Each Abrams mounts 120mm cannons that pierce any armor at 4,000 meters, with depleted uranium armor that makes them invulnerable mobile fortresses. These monsters incorporate third-generation thermal systems that detect enemies in total darkness, automatic ballistic computers, and reactive armor that explodes projectiles before impact. Their 1,500 horsepower turbine engines propel these fortresses at 70 kilometers per hour across any terrain. Venezuela responds with 172 tanks, 92 Russian T-72 B1 and 80 modernized French AMX-35. The T-72s weigh 45 tons and mount 125mm cannons with inferior range. Their fire control systems can't compete with Abrams computers. The United States operates 390,000 armored vehicles. Bradley transports with firepower, Stryker vehicles with superior mobility, and thousands of MRAP vehicles resistant to explosives. Venezuela counts 8,800 armored vehicles, barely 2% of the American arsenal. American artillery devastates entire territories. Their 671 self-propelled pieces include M109 Paladin howitzers that fire GPS-guided projectiles at 30 kilometers, and HIMARS systems that saturate targets with millimeter precision. Venezuela maintains 48 self-propelled systems and 36 BM-21 Grad rocket launchers. Though lethal, they don't match American precision or range. Air defense presents an interesting paradox. Venezuela invested in S-300 VM anti-systems with 200-kilometer range, Buk M2 systems, and modernized Pecora defenses. These provide significant coverage around strategic targets. The United States integrates Patriot PAC-3 systems for ballistic missiles, portable Stinger defenses, and mounted Avenger systems. Their real strength: air supremacy that suppresses defenses before they pose a threat. The United States deploys 50 times more tanks, but the soldiers operating them tell the most revealing story. The human factor reveals extraordinary contrasts. The United States maintains 1,328,000 active professional military personnel, an entirely volunteer force with decades of investment in advanced training and real combat experience across multiple theaters. Each soldier receives continuous training with virtual reality simulators, fields that replicate urban combat, and live fire systems with smart ammunition. Their Marines train on bases that recreate entire cities. Venezuela fields 109,000 active military personnel, supplemented by militia that officially claims 4 million members. Analysts estimate between 100,000 and 220,000 militia members with effective training in guerrilla warfare and territorial defense. Special forces reveal dramatic differences. The United States operates 70,000 special operations personnel, Navy SEALs, Army Rangers, Delta Force, Green Berets. These units have demonstrated lethal effectiveness in complex global operations, from eliminating Osama bin Laden to hostage rescues in hostile territories. Venezuela maintains between 2,000 and 4,000 special forces, paratrooper commandos, naval tactical divers, special action groups. Though trained for national territory, their experience is limited to internal security. Combat experience marks a crucial difference. American forces participated in conflicts for 2 decades: Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, operations in Africa and the Pacific. This real experience provides invaluable tactical knowledge. Venezuelan forces, though disciplined, lack experience in high-intensity conventional conflicts. Their participation was limited to internal security and peacekeeping missions. American military training uses simulators costing millions. Multinational RIMPAC exercises with 30 countries. Red flag maneuvers where pilots face realistic threats that replicate known enemy capabilities. American soldiers have advanced equipment: 4th-generation night vision, ceramic plate vests, encrypted radios, GPS providing precise navigation and constant communication. Venezuelan soldiers use locally manufactured AK-103 Kalashnikov rifles, standard vests, and conventional radios with limited range. Functional, but without American technological advantages. The United States exceeds by 12 times in professional soldiers. But money reveals the most devastating gap of all. Money fuels war machines, and here the difference reaches astronomical proportions. The United States invests $890 billion annually, the largest military budget in human history. It exceeds the military spending of the next 10 countries combined. Venezuela allocates $4 billion, less than 0.5% of American spending. This disparity seriously compromises maintenance of existing systems and troop training. Communications technology reveals gaps that transcend the material. The United States operates C4ISR systems that connect soldiers, vehicles, aircraft, and ships in real time. Their military satellites provide global encrypted communications and continuous space surveillance. The Link 16 system allows fighters, destroyers, and ground units to share tactical information instantly. An F-35 detects targets, transmits coordinates to destroyers 300 kilometers away, and watches Tomahawk missiles eliminate threats within minutes. Venezuela uses VHF and UHF radios with limited range, basic ground networks, and restricted access to commercial satellites. Commanders operate with fragmented information and critical delays. American electronic warfare blinds enemies completely. EA-18G Growler aircraft interfere with radar and communications at hundreds of kilometers, while cyber capabilities attack infrastructure from power plants to weapons systems. American submarines can surface near enemy coast and launch direct cyber attacks using specialized antennas that penetrate ground networks without detection. But Venezuela has developed a fascinating digital survival strategy: completely analog communication systems that cannot be hacked. Their special units train with 1980s frequency-modulated radio equipment, physical paper maps, and handwritten codes. This return to the past could become an unexpected advantage when American digital systems search for targets to interfere with and find nothing to hack. Venezuela lacks significant modern offensive electronic warfare capabilities, but their military engineers have created something unique: electromagnetic black boxes that can temporarily disable enemy electronic systems within a 5-kilometer radius. These devices, inspired by Iranian electromagnetic pulse technology, represent asymmetric weapons that could neutralize American drones and guided systems in close combat. The military industry reveals fundamental strategic differences. The United States possesses the most advanced complex. Lockheed Martin produces stealthy F-35s. Boeing builds nuclear carriers. Northrop develops invisible bombers. Venezuela produces Kalashnikov rifles under license and Tiuna vehicles. Respectable, but incomparable to American industrial capacity. Global logistics enables projecting complete divisions thousands of kilometers away. 900 strategic transport aircraft deploy tanks to any continent, while pre-positioned ships maintain equipment ready globally. The United States spends in 3 days what Venezuela spends in a year. But when theory clashes with geographical reality, unexpected secrets emerge. When military theory faces combat reality, scenarios emerge that defy obvious predictions. In direct conventional confrontation, American superiority would be so overwhelming that the conflict would end within days. F-35s would eliminate Venezuelan aviation before visual contact. Destroyers would sink patrol boats from beyond the horizon. But real wars include unpredictable factors. Venezuela possesses geographical advantages that would transform simple invasion into logistical nightmare. Amazon jungle would neutralize tanks designed for deserts. Andean mountains would turn every valley into an independent battlefield. Venezuelan strategy wouldn't seek conventional victory but transform rapid occupation into prolonged resistance. Regular forces would absorb initial blows while falling back to defensive positions. Local militias would initiate guerrilla warfare, turning every town into a fortress. Within 72 hours, fate would be decided. S-300 systems could down American aircraft, but would be saturated by coordinated attacks from cruisers and stealth bombers. Survival would depend on what forces managed to evacuate toward defenses. Naval war would end within 48 hours. Avante patrol boats wouldn't survive against destroyers superior in range and sensors. Their real function: attacking supply lines from hidden ports among the Keys. Without operational submarines, Venezuela would lose maritime control immediately. American ships would operate near coasts with impunity, providing naval gunfire and landing marines. The most likely scenario: 2-week air campaign destroying military infrastructure, followed by limited ground operations to secure oil fields, refineries, major ports. The United States would avoid total occupation. Venezuelan resistance would concentrate on making limited occupation unsustainable through attacks against oil installations, infrastructure, sabotage, and convoy ambushes. Caracas, with 6 million people in densely populated mountainous neighborhoods, would present unique challenges. Urban combat would neutralize technological advantages and require enormous human resources for effective control. In the end, one truth emerges: the United States possesses such overwhelming superiority that direct comparison borders on the absurd. 13,000 aircraft against 300, 11 aircraft carriers against 0, 4,600 tanks against 172. In conventional combat, Venezuela wouldn't last a week against the most devastating power ever created. But modern conflicts transcend numbers. Advanced technology can be neutralized by determination, terrain, and time. The jungle doesn't distinguish between 68 or 45-ton tanks. Venezuela wouldn't seek military victory but political survival, transforming rapid invasion into prolonged occupation that erodes American will. This asymmetric strategy has historically worked against superpowers. The real question isn't who would win militarily, but whether the United States would pay the price of occupation that could extend for decades. This comparison reveals countries trapped in confrontation where the power difference is so extreme that it paradoxically makes war less likely. The most important war is already being fought on the terrain of ideas and survival of incompatible models. And that war will continue long after fighters return to bases and ships return to port. If this military comparison has surprised you as much as it surprised us while researching it, subscribe, because every week we analyze epic showdowns between the planet's most powerful armed forces. Next week we'll see what would happen if German Leopard tanks faced Russian T-90s on Ukrainian battlefields. Don't miss these analyses that reveal military secrets governments prefer to keep hidden.